Okay, hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you the PINK Steinberger XL2 from, I think this one's 86. And as far as we know, it is the only pink one. Now, it's kind of red looking in this video, but it's actually really this bizarre, dusky kind of pink colour. And I'll get into the history of it and how I got it and all that kind of things. But the exciting thing today is we have two new EMG pickups and an EMG BTC control, which is bass treble control. And I'll run you through that. He's sounding pretty damn good. The boys in the band call this the Professor. And it really is, it's a great live instrument. It's big live. So, let's get into how I got it, and I'll show you the features and things if you're not familiar. So it's all carbon graphite. Most of these instruments are, as in almost all of them, are they're not painted. It's a gel coat. It's like the way you build a boat, right? So you make a mold and you paint the color into the mold, and then the fibers go in and the resin goes in and all hardens and it comes out and it's that color. This is painted, which made me think when I got it that someone had painted it and had been sold a pup. I got it in an auction. It was a pawn shop in Minneapolis. I think it's Minneapolis. And I lost the auction, basically. Somebody outbid me heavily on it. And then a couple of days later, the seller got onto me and said that the buyer had pulled out and I could have it at my high bid. So I'm very excited because it looks like really bright red, which was my dream bass at the time, have a bright red one of these. And so I was delighted. And it was quite a complicated thing to get home because I'm in Ireland. There was customs and all that kind of gear on it. And had it shipped to my brother-in-law first because the seller wouldn't ship out of the States. So they shipped it to my brother-in-law in California. And then he shipped it to me. So after a long wait, it arrived. I took it out of the case and it was this bizarre colour. It wasn't in a case, it was in a box. And I thought, oh man. And when I took it apart, this faceplate comes off. When I took it apart, the inside of the faceplate was white and the inside of the body was black. It had been painted. I thought. So I got on to Andy Akabik, who is the Steinberger expert. And he said, I don't know how it'd go about taking the paint off that, maybe just live with it or whatever, you could sand it back and refinish it or whatever. And then he went and he checked the instrument logs, the production logs, the Steinberger production logs. And it turns out it left the factory like this. And there was a couple of other clues as well. The finish line across where the fretboard goes on is perfect and there's no lip. So it was this colour, it left the factory this colour, and it was the first red one in the logs. So what we think it was someone came in maybe with another guitar or a colour swatch and said, I want one that colour. And they decided to make this. So it's a really striking looking instrument. That's the first thing. It turns heads everywhere it goes. Basically, when it arrived, it had two SS pickups, so volume, tone. And beyond that was pretty standard. There was no leg rest, there was no strap pivot when I got it. A guy was making replica strap pivots and I got that done. And then there's two people made thrust washers for me to try get that to work. And one of them worked. Both of them were in Cork. A friend of mine called Damien Ryan. He made a couple for me, and another mate of mine called Matthew Bean, who still kind of will run up Steinberger parts for you if you're stuck. He's been a saviour to so many of us. But they made thrust bearings for me, which is this screw thing on the back that holds on the strap pivot. Now, the way the strap pivot works, if you haven't seen one, is it suspends the bass from its centre of gravity. Okay? And what that means is there's no neck dive, there's none of that. It just stays in place, right? I'm going to get this on. It stays in place perfectly. And then with the strap, I had to have two guitar, you know, the thing you hang your strap buttons, had to have them modified, so drilled. Damien did that for me, so that you could screw a screw into it and it would hold on, right? So just like the L2 things. And after that, then we were good to go. So I played it for a long time. And what happened was one night it fell over, because as you know, if you play these things like that, the getting a stand for them is difficult, you know. And basically, it got knocked over. One of the lads in the band knocked it over, and it landed on its face. And when I played it again afterwards, it sounded different to me. It was thin, and this pickup was rattling around. So it was still okay, you know. It was an okay sound, but I began to notice this is less than it was. And I plugged in my L2 after, and all of a sudden it was monstrous different. So I figured out, right, this needs pickups. There's something up here. Tried to have the pickups repaired, and they couldn't be repaired. So I ordered 2 EMG HBs ceramic steel from Tolman, who are brilliant, to be fair to them. They got them in for me. They had to order them special for me and G. And when they arrived, they were faulty. The E and the A didn't work on them. So I just had D and G. That's usually kind of power issue maybe. So they were replaced, and they sent out the new ones, and one of those is pretty quiet as well. I'm not sure what the story is of that. But I did have standard HBs, and I thought, you know, feck it, I'll throw them in and we'll go do the gig tonight. And while I was at it, I had a BTC instead of the standard tone, and I said, we'll throw that in and we'll see how that goes. And it was really, really good. So the other thing to notice here is got a string adapter on the top. So those of you panicking about Steinberger saying, oh, I can't get the double ball end strings, these work pretty well. And again, I'll include a link where you can get them. So let's go through some sounds. Before we get to that, actually, I'll just explain a couple of little bits and pieces about these things. Like I say, this thing is hollow. It comes off and it's all scooped out in there, right? There's a central beam goes up. I can do you some photographs later on. The fretboard is a thing called phenolic, which is sheets of fabric overlaid like this, right? And then they're impregnated with a resin and they're cut into shape and glued on. And what can happen these over time as you play them is moisture gets into the resin and you get this kind of wood grain effect, right? It looks like wood grain. But if you want to get rid of it and get that kind of black shiny finish again, get some WD-40, spray it on a cloth, wipe it in, wipe it off, and do that as many times as it takes to get rid of the grain. Don't be afraid of it. That's what you do because it expels water. WD is water displacer 40. So let's do some sounds. I'll do it with the tone control flat. We'll do each pickup and then both pickups, and then we'll dick around with this tone control a bit. Like I say, it's the only pink one that we know exists. It's the first red one in the production logs. So maybe before they knew how to do red gel coat, or it could have been color matched or something. We don't know, but it's an exciting instrument to own. So let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to turn down the microphone and we'll do both pickups on. All right, back pickup on its own. Front pickup on its own. So lots of fun. Okay, we'll put on the EQ now. What I could do is pull it all up, all the way, both sides, and we'll have to regain, I think, will we? Hang on. Now just drag it down a bit. All right, so both pickups on and the bass and treble all the way up. Now, what I found about these EMG BTC controls is it's actually fairly subtle. It isn't this massive like you get on an Ibanez, like plus 16 dB either side. It's subtle enough. It's just a little boost, and it does retain an awful lot of the original character. So look, let's see what we're going to do. Both pickups, right? Back pickup only. Okay, and front pickup only. Okay, I'll give you a rough idea. Actually, I kind of prefer with the treble roll off almost halfway. So now I did make a little mistake installing this. Have the treble one too close to the other pot, and what happens is when you turn one, it turns both. So you have to kind of hold one. I'll fix it later. Okay, so let's get this halfway back, and we go both pickups on. Okay, we'll try that when we play them properly. Back pickup only. Front pickup only. Okay, so you'll have to excuse the playing. Basically, for me, the instrument sounds great with the BTC in the stand, flat position, and for that reason, I'm going to switch it back out to a standard tone control today because I would get more use out of that. Being able to just round the tone off slightly than worrying about this active bass thing. And I actually have another idea for this, but far from being a massive downgrade from the SS pickups, which were great, to be fair to it, they were great. This is actually working out pretty well, and in a band context, that extra mid that's in these standard EMG HBs is cutting through everything in the mix, and it's a joy. The EQ is flat here. the other thing I was going to say, if you have a Spirit by Steinberger instrument, the only similarity here is the leg rest, which I always find this hard because I've no nails. I always find it hard to get out. Yeah, there you go. So that goes like that. That's what that's for. Everything else, nothing else fits on a Spirit. Nothing, as far as I know. No, nothing. Not even the knobs. And you're getting the general feel of a small-bodied instrument. They're actually slightly bigger than this, I think. I'm pretty sure they are. But this graphite construction and the active EMGs and the hardware, this kind of heavy-duty hardware, I'm not sure what part of that is giving you the sound, but they do sound completely different. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime instrument nowadays. If you can get one, do it. Listen, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope that wasn't too disjointed and boring. I just wanted to give you a quick look at the Professor and welcome him back to live stage duties. You know, I'm lucky to own it, and I thought I'd share it with you today. So any questions, put them in the comments below, and thanks again for tuning in. There is one last thing. Only about 20% of people who watch the channel are subscribed. So I won't ask you to smash the like button, because or smash the subscribe button. I don't know what smashing it means. But if you could just click it, that would be fab. It just helps with the algorithm and to get the bits and pieces that I put together, the nonsense I do here, out to more people. So if you wouldn't mind, give me a like and a subscribe, I'd appreciate it.